Most brands fail because of bad assumptions, not because of bad tactics. The amount of times that we speak with e-commerce brands, and it happens quite a lot, and they have a set of data or a list of things that do and do not work for them. But when we actually look at where that information has come from, a lot of the time the data is outdated. It's only coming from one channel, so attribution is questionable. But a lot of it is just based on assumptions. Well, it's just how we've always done it. It's the channel that's always just worked for us. It's just what our customers like. But when you delve a little bit deeper into that, do you know for a fact that's what your customers like? Is that the last time that you asked them? When was that and what did they say? So in this short video, I'm going to run through a few e-commerce channel myths that put your revenue at risk. So the first thing that I hear a lot, and quite a lot of us in the team hear a lot actually, is, well, we'll just double down on what's working. We'll just throw loads of additional budget into what's working, but so we're not wasting any. It doesn't quite work like that. Definitely not. It feels logical because that is where revenue is being delivered seemingly right now. That is the here and now, and that's what's working, and that is great. And I'm not saying don't scale that. That's absolutely brilliant. Of course, if you found something that's working, then incorporate in your strategy to scale that gradually, to make sure that the profitability is remaining. But it creates risk because it creates dependency and it reduces flexibility. So if you are purely focusing on one or even two channels, if anything were to go wrong within those channels, if the team that are experts on that channel were to move on or to be on holiday, heaven forbid, or to need to be off sick for a prolonged period of time, what happens then? Where are the other channels that need to come? The cavalry aren't coming. So you've depended too much by throwing everything at that one channel. And have you actually tried anything else? I think that's a really valid point to drive home and remember whenever you're putting together your e-commerce strategy and trying to build what we refer to as an e-commerce revenue ecosystem is, yes, we know that paid ads work. We've never really invested in content. Content could work amazingly. It's multi-purpose. You can use it across loads of different channels, and it's absolutely essential for SEO and, more importantly now, AI visibility. So that's a no-brainer. But the amount of times we see it being neglected because, we've never really done it because ads work really well. It's such a weakness there in businesses. So what you need to think instead is that we scale the winners. So as I mentioned before, Google Ads is working really well for you. Absolutely scale it, gradually improve it. Bearing in mind, if you're scaling paid accounts too quickly, profitability, ROAS, revenue is likely to suffer. So that needs to be a strategic, well thought out decision anyway, not let's just throw loads more budget at it because it's working. But we need to cap the exposure of your brand on that platform. We don't want to be depending on any single platform, any single person, any single algorithm for your success. So that's the first myth that I'm glad we've managed to bust. Second myth about e-commerce channels is that paid ads are just the fastest way to grow. And I say it's a myth because it's not always the case. Whenever I'm chatting to an e-commerce store who comes in for a growth mapping session at the agency and they don't know what they need or what they want other than growth and quickly, which is what we specialize in, often they're like, well, surely we'll just start with paid ads. And yes, to an extent, you get that immediate return. You can do that quick testing to understand, okay, what is going to sell well on this platform, what isn't, and you can quickly decide where best to invest and scale. That's great. You can scale it easily and quickly if it's going well. But it creates risk because of the competitive element of the platforms. So it's not really risk-free. We're dealing with things in paid platforms. Let's take Google, for example, policy changes, increases in cost per click because people are jumping on it and wanting to do the same thing because it's working. And ultimately what that means is diminishing returns. You're having to spend more to get the same amount out of it. So yes, you see the immediate results, and I can understand completely why that is attractive to some brands to focus on that. And absolutely, sometimes that is the right thing to start with, without a doubt. But all of these considerations need to be made. It is more expensive. Policies are becoming stricter. It's more difficult to solve issues with your feed if it's to go down and things like that. So it's really something that needs consideration. So instead, I think the best way to view paid as a channel and part of your ecosystem for your revenue is that it can accelerate growth, and it's the perfect platform channel to do that on, but it can't be the entire growth engine. And that is a mistake that we see e-com stores making time and time again. Myth number 3 that I would like to cover today is that SEO is slow and therefore it's less important. This one is a bit of a bugbear of mine. My background is SEO. I'm very passionate about SEO and the blueprint of performance that solid SEO can bring to a brand and help them maintain. I understand why the myth seems logical to people. SEO is slower. It doesn't give that instant ROI. However, when done properly, actually results from SEO are seen significantly quicker now than ever before because of the way that the algorithm has evolved, because of the diversity and complexity of what is necessary for a good SEO strategy, and with AI and the LLMs all coming into play now. Actually, what used to take, it will be 6 months until you see any results, can actually be achieved pretty quickly, especially with the correct prioritization of opportunity. And direction being really guided by data in your SEO strategy. Why does not using SEO create risk? Immediately you have an over-reliance on paid, which is something I speak about a lot. You don't want over-reliance on any channel. But of course, when you're relying too heavily on paid, it comes at the cost of your ad spend. And it's not really a long-term acquisition asset. We've discussed before, it's fantastic to use to test, to learn about what in your catalogue is going to sell well online. But ultimately, if your website isn't visible organically, and especially in AI search now, the question is, where are you? Where's the visibility? And if your ads were to go down and nobody can find you organically, or in voice search, or in AI, you kind of disappeared into nothingness. And after so much work on your paid efforts, it's a real shame to lose all of that, especially overnight. And it can happen, and it does happen because we've seen it before. So SEO, it builds defensibility, not just your traffic. It is that blueprint for success. It is that platform that gives brands that social proofing. So when your customers are browsing, looking, asking questions, it allows you to show up and provide that customer with that really valuable content that enhances their journey in a way that an ad never can. So don't forget about your SEO. It's super important. The 4th myth that we're going to bust today is that email is just retention. So why that feels right is that it does target existing customers. Not just existing customers, but majoritarily existing customers. Why that increased risk is that there's an underinvestment in one of the channels that really has the highest ROI. If your goal is simply acquisition of new customers, then I understand that perhaps email wouldn't be the first port of call for you. But for a lot of brands, it's about driving profitability and revenue and quickly. And an email is a fantastic platform for you to do that on. And not only that, but there's loads of other benefits about really engaging with your customers, turning them into brand ambassadors, not just people that are loyal to you, and really making them feel part of your brand story too. So what it actually means is that email equals retention, which is a revenue stabilizer, a margin driver, and ultimately it de-risks. You are in control of your emails solely. There are much less restrictions put in place for you. There's no policies particularly that you have to follow with the creative or the language that you're using. So it really gives you that creative free reign as well. It's a hugely underestimated and underused channel, and something that I implore you to think about more when putting together your e-commerce strategy. And finally, our 5th myth to bust is that we need to be on every single channel. Now, it might seem a little bit hypocritical that I've just sat here for however many minutes and told you need more than one channel. You can't depend on just one, and you can't. But equally, you don't need to be everywhere. There is no point investing budget and time on a channel where your users just aren't present or they don't engage. There's also no point in spreading your budget so thinly that actually nothing ends up working. So it really is about a strategic decision and plan that's put in place. And it might require some testing and there might be mistakes made along the way. But eventually you will find that sweet spot for your e-commerce revenue ecosystem. And once you've found that, that is a real sweet spot for de-risking. So rather than thinking about channel overload, we're just talking about strategic diversification, making sure that your brand is not too dependent on a single channel, but also not spreading budget and teams and expertise so thinly across so many that actually they just end up being a jack of all trades and a master of none. So to summarize, doubling down isn't the problem. If you have found something that works, then that's brilliant. And of course, scale that. You'd be foolish not to. But the issue comes with dependency, that single point of failure. So eradicating that from your e-com store and your marketing mix is absolutely essential for de-risking for your brand this year. This channel is here to help e-commerce brands cut through the noise and focus on what actually moves the needle. Like and subscribe for more.